Next up, we are on the good lens, which is arguably the worst version of the bad lens. It depends on how you like your textures. Whether you like them eye-bleeding red or some weird mixture of gray, blue, and orange. I don't know. You do you, I'll do me. We're going to look at this game. The game is between Blinchick and Strogo and a Chief Jaguar and this guy. This is actually a 94% balanced game, so we're going to see a much more even matchup than the last time around. Blinchick is already posting up 5 land factories in one of the most absurd build orders that I've ever seen. This is going to be a ludicrous amount of land spam. Strogo, on the other hand, has gone for a much more conservative build that's looking like a hydro push. He's got 2 power generators on a mass extractor going for 4 mexes, then walk his ACU somewhere, I would imagine. And then his first engineer is running to the rear. It's going to pick up 30 mass worth of reclaim to make ends meet on his build, which is typically a good thing to do when you're not sure if you have enough mass. And then he's going to dive into the hydro. I would love to see, there it is, some early aggression. Mech Marines are at 145 HP, so they do survive a hit from an ACU. They're not a one-hit kill. And like I was saying earlier about the lab balance, Mech Marines do not get a special ability. In return, they get that extra 20 HP that allows them to survive another tank shot, if I remember correctly, on the damage numbers for the tanks. The Chief Jaguar going for second air off the hydro after he walks to the rear. That is a very aggressive hydro push. And this guy is queuing 4 double adjacency land factories in his core mechs group. And he's got another air factory planned on the rear after the hydro. A little engagement there, little mutual KO, those labs eliminating each other, not allowing anyone to pass by. And a note, looks like we've got adjacency on the P-gens as well. So each land factory will get adjacency from 2 mass extractors and 2 power generators. This also allows for an early T2 mass extractor upgrade on the 2 that are adjacent to P-gens for a lower power cost. So that's going to get you a pretty decent boost on your economy moving into the mid game. Looks like we've got a tank for Strogo out to the left, T1, that is going to cover for any labs that are moving into the area to try and kill off an unsuspecting engineer, just as the one that is sitting right here casually building these mass extractors. I think that that one may die though, because there are 2 Mech Marines on the outside edge. Tank does see him. Sellen's moving in to engage. Looks like a little damage will be done to that tank, taking it down to about the HP value of a flare as the other tank moves to the rear to cover this very exposed engineer. Over on the left, we've got a couple of strikers out of the factory. Those are moving out with accompanying land scouts. Those are probably going to push down over to the right side. I like this Mech Marine in the rear base, but unfortunately a Mantis will be able to catch it after a single solitary kill. That may actually be, I can't tell from the wreck, that might be a hunter right there. So another lab killed. If this can get shut down, 2 strikers would probably be enough to do it. That engineer kill would be extremely valuable because that's about a 45-second walk to build on that outside edge, and as we all know, if you can shut down your opponent's expansions for longer than he can shut down yours, you are typically going to come out ahead in the game. A little bit of the run around over here. Looks like a Chief Jaguar has got a Mech Marine to the back end. Sellens are going to move into range and obliterate that with extreme prejudice as it tries to micro into range, but unfortunately is unsuccessful. If that would have continued running around the outside edge, might have been able to pick up another engineer kill, but unfortunately that was not meant to be. The Goodlands does maintain the spirit of the Badlands in the fact that it has 2 mass extractors on an outside expansion that cannot be accessed from the ground. You either have to edge build a factory or you have to drop engineers up there with an air transport. So, well, not that there's any other kind of transport. I guess they are all air transport, so I shouldn't have to specify. That's going to give you a little bit of extra reclaim, as you can see on the tickers right there. In fact, there may be, nope, I'm seeing a texture on the ground. So there's a little bit of reclaim up there, and then those mexes, you definitely want to get that under your control if at all possible. A couple of tanks and a scout moving over to catch this Tham. I am amazed that these guys aren't abusing Mech Marines even harder. We do have 2 UEF players, one on the north, one on the south, and then Cybran and Seraphim for the remainders. So hunters could be a good thing to mix in with your main troops, because of course that stun is going to be invaluable. Use it like you would loyalists and bricks. You get that little mixed up, you shove the hunters out in front, you stun the other units, and then your mantis are free to shred them at will without taking any damage whatsoever in those 1.5 second intervals on the stun. We've got more land factories being built on the left. Strogo up to 5 total in construction. It does look like Blinchik canceled out on the remainder of those land factories and instead decided to move over to the right hand side and build double adjacent on these mexes as well. This is kind of an interesting layout because you could get a total of 8 factories with double adjacency that could let you build a pretty large number of T2 units. I'm trying to remember. I think that units, I don't want to say it. Somebody in chat correct me. What is the percentage on T1 mexes? Is it like 2.5%? Something like that? So if you have T2 mexes, it's more than that on adjacency. So 4 T2 mexes is probably going to total out to south of 50%. So you're probably getting 1 out of 4 tanks free with the double adjacency. So, oh, no. 6.5% someone in chat says for T1 per mex. So that's going to be 13% per factory. Blinchik will eco and make pillars, and pillars are OP, so GG, says Hershey. Yeah, maybe. We'll wait and see how it turns out. The point is, you're going to be getting some units for free if you're building with adjacency on the mexes, and I do know that T2 mexes have higher adjacency. I guess it would be 12%, looking at how the numbers stack or something like that. Again, chat will correct me if I'm incorrect. So I think about 1 in 4 tanks at the T2 phase with T2 mexes would be accurate. That's going to translate into a massive unit advantage over someone who is just building their land factories either adjacent to power or just out in the middle of nowhere or only adjacent to 1. And that advantage could be enough to roll your opponent. Sometimes just a handful of tanks makes the difference in a game. One thing that could throw a wrench into the works, though, is that the Goodlands have an even smaller choke point system than the Badlands do. So you're going to end up having to funnel your units through these choke points. Early in the game, you need tons and tons of T1 land in order to lock down every possible avenue of access and also prevent the run-bys that leak in around the corners. Once you move into the later portions, though, you are going to be able to get by on either a few high-tier units or some T2 PD. Heaven forbid that you ever build a stationary fire base. You're going to be susceptible to drops, so you need to be mindful of things that are happening like this right here. But if you're only talking about mass movements of land units, you could theoretically get by on some stationary defenses. You are going to want to move in and get T3 stationary artillery or possibly a clink hammer, something like that, to be able to kill off mobile missile launchers that are moving up, that kind of thing. But overall, your T2 point defense are probably going to pay for themselves in defensive potential in a choke point like this. I like the shoot down. Strogo was able to pick up that drop before it did any damage whatsoever. This guy is now surrounding Blinchik with an overwhelming number of Mantis. This could be the end of Blinchik. Blinchik didn't get enough factories online. 5 total versus a whopping 8 land factories. That's 3 factories to the detriment. Maybe the HP shield of these factories dying will be enough to keep Blinchik alive. A little careful maneuvering to make sure that the ACU is protected from as much damage as possible. But that's exactly what you want to do to an eco player like Blinchik. Person in chat was accurate. Blinchik typically does like to eco up, tech up, and send in some higher tier units later in the game. But when you're consistently rated like this, it does lead to some problems trying to get your T2 mechs. There are 2 in the back, another under upgrade. Of course, the reclaim will come in handy, but that will slow down Blinchik and force a little bit of a response from Strogo, who is now going to be threatened on the left by a Chief Jaguar, since he now only has half the units on this side at his disposal. Riquet in chat correcting, T1 Mass Extractor 7.5% bonus, T2 Mass Extractor is 10%, T3 is 12.5%. So the double adjacency would be 20% discount, 1 in 5 tanks is free, and then the T3 mechs are going to be 12.5% for a total of 50% mass bonus if you can manage by some miracle to get 4 mechs adjacent to a land factory. That is redunculous. We got a Hydro going down. This guy sniping off some of Blinchik's potential. Blinchik moving forward a little bit too much, I feel like. The stun going into effect on those units, as you just saw, so Hunters are in the mix, trying to deal their dirty work out on these T1 tanks. Blinchik getting the ACU back, protected ever so slightly. Excuse me. And now they finally come out on top of the T1 unit supply from this guy as Brink's voice starts to break. We've got T1 tanks trying to go after the next Hydro. Might not be able to get it down though, because we do have the first of many pillars on the field. They're going to be able to knock those units out as the Hydro survives with 247 HP. This guy was able to get quite a few units around the back end. This is going to get a pretty good pincer maneuver going on Strogo's left side expansion. Strogo pushing up a little bit more than is necessary, I feel like, to try and edge Jaguar back. His units circling on the left side, trying to get at the tanks over on that edge. The point defense that was protecting the center of this base has gone down to the T1 artillery coming in from Jaguar. I know there were some in the mix, but perhaps that was an overcharge from the ACU. Let's actually take a look. Nope, it was good old raw damage or a T1 artillery, but a Chief Jaguar also has pillars that is back now. T2 tanks up on the front line. Let's take a moment to look at the eco and how things are going. Blinchik at 37 mass income, Strogo at 37 mass income. Both of these guys hurting badly from the raiding that has been going on all game. This guy at 41 and a Chief Jaguar at 51 mass per tick. This guy flagging slightly in power potential, but it looks like he is going up 460. That must have been a gift from a Chief Jaguar to help finish off that gun upgrade. Strogo struggling to keep Achieved out of his base. Achieved now coming in with T1 bombers. That was a shift G order, I think, on the T1 units. They decided that there was a better target of opportunity, taking out 4 engineers and a radar with a single pass. Probably a little bit of overkill from those T1 bombers. Might have done well to go after the T1 anti-air or other targets at the same time, but alas, it was not meant to be. We've got 2 T2 tanks moving over to the center line, 3 T2 tanks, and Blinchik is up on the front with the ACU, grabbing some manual reclaim to try and shore up the shattered economy that this guy has left her. There's now a gun upgrade going down on the Cybern ACU, 61% complete on that with nearly full HP, and a veterancy to his name. That also on Blinchik, but no gun upgrade. Even if you have T2 units at your disposal, that gun upgrade is going to knock you completely onto your back foot. The overcharges are going to be incredibly valuable on those pillars if that would be the next thing that he needs to do. This guy is able to get, there's a T2 power generator. You gotta have power overflow and you gotta have an energy storage in order to get overcharge working. Oh no, wait! That's another balance change. Overcharge works in equilibrium without 5,000 in storage. It is actually a scaling thing where when you overcharge a unit, it spends the power equivalent to kill that unit. I don't remember what the damage scaling is without it sitting in front of me because equilibrium changes, but it can do, I think, a minimum of 2,000 damage and then a maximum of 15,000 damage, and it scales the amount of power supply to deal that much damage. So if you're only overcharging T1 and T2 units, then you don't need an energy storage to carry out your overcharges. It will simply use all of the power that you have and deal that much damage, which I think is enough to kill most T2 units without the power storage. Gun upgrade is complete, as well as stealth. So this guy has a very competent ACU ready to go into battle. Blinchik has got 2 triads online, building wall sections to try to funnel any oncoming units into those PD so that they are more effective. We've also got TAC defense going up on the front to guard against any TAC missiles coming from the south side. Looks like all 4 core mexes are upgraded right here. Mexes paused on upgrade to the right to run back down the ecos again. Blinchik back up on top at 59 mass per tick now that she's claimed all of these other mass extractors once again. And then a Chief Jaguar at 55 masses in second place, followed by 53 and 22 for this guy and Strogo, respectively. Strogo only has 2 T2 mass extractors to his name and lost most of the mexes in his left expansion, so that leaves him in a pretty bad spot. Mr. Rowie posting in chat, energy drain per 1,000 damage, 2,000 up to 30,000 per shot when dealing 15,000 damage. So you drain double the amount of power that you're dealing in damage, which means Ilshivas at 2,500 HP are going to survive an overcharge at 4,000 storage by 500 HP. So you do still need energy storage for some T2 units, but not others. For instance, the pillars will die in a single 4,000 energy blast. So that is very good to know. Buildings take 20% damage from overcharge, so 200 to 3,000 per shot. ACU's taking 10% damage from 100 to 1,500. 1,500 per shot to an ACU. That is brutal. But that takes a lot of energy storage to get up to. That would be 30,000 energy in storage for 1,500 damage on an ACU. Yeah, that definitely does tweak the balance a fair bit. Thank you very much to the people in chat for looking these things up on the equilibrium balance changelog that is available on the forums that I did not have time to memorize and do not have the desire to memorize for these one-off tournaments using the mod. Chief Jaguar reaching out on that Ilshiva. There we go, seeing it survive with 100 HP after an overcharge. He does have the gun upgrade, so that is going to increase his damage potential versus most of this stuff as some T1 units die to an overcharge there. Looks like Blinchik will be able to guard against that gun commander thanks to the amount of point defense that they put up in this gap. However, that ACU is running all the way back here. Nope, that is another unit queued, so that is going to go there. They're leaving the center relatively unguarded. The single point defense that was built on the south side has been KO'd by a Lobo. That is going to leave things very, very exposed through the middle. Although both players can respond to the center, that's probably the easiest spot to respond to, so maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. Looking at our radar coverage, we do have radar coverage all the way over the center from Blinchik, and then if we take a look at Strogo, he's also got multiple T1 radars covering the entire area, so there's no chance that units will be able to push in without his knowing. Jaguar, as I said before, is on gun upgrade already. Strogo is getting his, but he might be stalling slightly. I mean by 150 to 200% of his mass income, but he will be able to finish this, so that's good. Might need to ask for a mass donation from Blinchik, who appears to be floating in quite a high quantity of it. 83 mass per tick. 20 plus over what Jaguar is making in second place. Strogo does have the gun upgrade now and will be able to move in on these units, holding a distinct advantage over Jaguar since he is able to overcharge the pillars in one go. Looks like wall sections going up across the center, so that will further slow any units hitting that midpoint. Looks like Blinchik is going to rely on the point defense in his base and send all of the T2 units over to the left-hand side to help regain control versus the now combined forces of a Chief Jaguar and this guy trying to get in on the left. Strogo is camping on the front with his ACU, but I don't think he's going to have much to do. There's a parashield. Nicely done. Is that from your own factory, or was that gifted over? That appears to be a gift from Blinchik. Blinchik has now decided to move through the middle. He's seen that this progress has stopped. Strogo is holding, if only just barely, so those units may be more effective if pushed through the middle and used to raid out some eco in these players' bases. You can see a little bit of a recoil here. This guy pulling Mantis back over to the midpoint from both edges to try and stop this run by at all costs. You do not want to have that many units in your base, and that's going to provide an opportunity for Strogo to move up as well with his growing pack of Ilshivas and that Guncom at his disposal. Chief Jaguar at 5 veterancy, so no more vet to pull him up. Although that is another change in equilibrium. Units do not receive HP boosts when they vet. They receive I think it's a 15% tier on tier increase in maximum HP. They get a bump in regen, which I believe is slightly higher than in the regular balance, or possibly the same, and they don't receive the HP boost. So you can't save yourself by overcharging units, which is another nerf to ACUs versus T1 units, which makes me think, I don't know, maybe these people never ever used their ACUs on the front line. Okay, so yes, the regen has been buffed. Mr. Rowie is posting statistics in the chat. That is another change that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because it makes the game a lot more static. When you're able to use your ACU on the front line and push at all costs, then and rely on veterancy to keep your HP up, you're able to do a lot more in the early game. Whereas if you're always terrified that your ACU is going to die because you can't buff your HP by vetting, you can't survive as well against T1 units because they take literally 25% more shots to kill. Like, that's a huge nerf to ACUs. I don't really understand how they thought that was a good idea. The only buff is being able to overcharge without the energy storage, but that still means you have to overflow tons of energy. So I don't know. That seems very odd to me. ACUs and experimentals only require 50% of their mass value to gain a rank. That is one of the changes that actually made it over to the main patch. And people wonder why I am so perturbed about things that are in equilibrium bleeding over into the main balance. Like, a lot of this stuff you don't want to see in the main balance patch. Alright, Jaguar's going for shield upgrade and has already got T2, so that is going to give him one hell of an unkillable commander. Tons of HP at his disposal, massive amounts of regen, 60 with that T2 upgrade, so he's going to be able to regen past a couple of T1 tanks worth of damage potential. That is going to give him an absolute wrecking ball of a commander that he can ram directly into Strogo's base. We've got unit collection on the south side, but the wall sections have finished, so Blinchik will be able to slow that down. And then we've got the point defense on the other side. So this game is now going to go completely static as it turns into a teching war. One that Blinchik is doing quite well at, I might add. We've got 110 eco versus 109. So it looks like this guy has actually tied him. That's going to be 4,700 reclaim versus 8,200. So points to Blinchik on that one. Jaguar at 7,600 reclaim, stalling for 10,000 power. Holy cow. And then Strogo at 9,800 reclaim. So the north side has gotten a ton more reclaim, but that's due to all of the raiding that has happened. And here we can also see Blinchik control K-ing the land factories that are no longer necessary in order to get mass storages built for adjacency on the mexes, increase that little bit of extra income, and then also getting the mass back that were sunk into the factories. Faye in chat, it's all in the name, really? It's equilibrium. Once a system achieves equilibrium, the sum of all forces applied to it is 0, so by definition it becomes static. Yeah, honestly. That is a good description of everything that I see from this mod. It's people who don't like exciting games. They like mellow, like almost overbalanced games. Overbalanced is not a good word. I don't know how to phrase it, but it's very static. Very static. All units gain a veterancy level when they get 200% of their own mass cost in veterancy points. Yes. Achieved crush incoming from WTF in chat. I don't know. He might be able to crush versus Strogo, but if Blinchik reroutes all of the tanks over to that edge, Blinchik should be able to shut it down. And then I think we're about to see Blinchik rocket up in income exponentially. And then we're going to start seeing T3 spam and possibly a Fat Boy. Achieve Jaguar is not in a position to contest that. So I think this is still anybody's game. And 100 HP labs. Yeah. Hold on. Your correction is still incorrect there. What are you referring to, Corhadris? This will be the death of this game for so many if they decide to implement some of these features into the official patch. I completely agree. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Mass extractors are cheaper in Equilibrium because they want you to move to the T2 phase faster. So the T2 mexes are cheaper than in the regular balance, which is why you see early T2 mexes popping up everywhere. Oh, Rowie's misspelling was incorrect on the correction. Okay. Okay. Also, e-storage capacity is up from 5,000 to 8,000 E. So you don't need as many e-storages to get up to those ludicrous numbers like 30,000 storage to get the maximum possible effect out of your overcharges. This just sounds better and better as we dive deeper into the changelog. All right. Nano Repair is Nano Repair is canceled on Strogo's commander. Looks like Blinchik has seen what Jaguar is doing and is moving all units over to contest. If Strogo had been able to finish off that Nano Repair, he would have been able to contest what Jaguar is doing, but it would appear that Jaguar is stalling on E to the tune of 300, so that ACU shield is not going to do him any good whatsoever. We've almost got another T2 power generator online. There it is. So that's going to balance him out. No more power stall for you, good sir. But we do have another leak springing forth in the center. Looks like Blinchik is going to go after that middle raid that got abandoned the last time around. Maybe that'll pull a little away from Achieve Jaguar's commander, but I feel like this is a bad idea to push at this point because you need these units over on the left side to defend against this massive push of pillars and gun shield T2 comms. Strogo's got multiple shield generators on his ACU to provide that extra bit of health that he lacks in the face of this 24, that is 43,500 HP versus 15,000. That is terrifying. Then you've got 35 regen on the shield and 60 regen on the ACU itself. That is what I mean by a borderline unkillable commander. Looks like Blinchik is going for more eco still. 120 income versus this guy's 123. We do have a T3 mass extractor upgrade started right there, as well as a T3 HQ online that is now rolling out a demolisher. I'm not sure why you need T3 artillery. That seems like a weird choice to me. Achieve Jaguar down about 2/3 health on his shield. Now at about 50%. So he is losing health. This is working in the back. The masked up T1 point defense along with all of the units that were pushed to the front. But you will notice that the number of units has dwindled slightly on the north while most of the pillars are still alive for Achieve Jaguar. So a lot of the damage that's being dealt is being dealt to Jaguar's commander as he is slowly overcharging his way through the units on the north side while preserving the life of most of his T2 tanks. Yeah, Blackheart edit is definitely better balance. Don't know what Blackheart's on about. It looks like a clink hammer going down for Blinchik. What on earth is this even? That is in response to 2 trebuchets out to break the base. This guy is trying to displace Blinchik. He's also got 2 bricks headed up towards the front. He's made a full T3 shift, pulling in 4 factories total between the HQ and the supports. He's building engineers from the left side factories to provide extra build power, and has now gone for full T3 land spam to try and crack this thing like an egg. Blinchik just about to get the clink hammer online. Incoming shell, destroying some build power and doing damage to T2 PD. Need to get more shield generators online to stop this assault. Also, not power stalling would definitely help with your case, as that shield downage was due to power, not due to damage. The clink hammer should be able to deal with these along with the extra T3 mobile artillery that are in the back, although we do have another shield flicker to contend with, so not especially fantastic. Blinchik spamming T1 power in a desperate attempt to keep the lights on in her base. Looks like we're 150 ahead and growing, although those T1 power generators are going to take damage, if ever so slightly, from the ACU shells colliding with the shield on this side. The clink hammer is now ready to fire, but there's no intel to decide which way to shoot the arty. Although there is a shot there, maybe, just maybe, it will work out. Looks like Strogo now has an overwhelming amount of units thanks to the donation from Blinchik on the right-hand side. Looks like that is not going to be enough still, though, because this guy is also assisting, has sent all of his T1 and T2 units to the left. Oh my goodness, that was a drop. I completely missed it, but now we can stare at it in all of its glory. 6 pillars on the south side, KOing 2 T2 mexes. Moving on to the third, they just need to book it. Run as quickly as you can, little pillars. There are bricks on the way, but they are slow as all get out. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. Move! I know you want to kill the T2 mechs, but you gotta do as much damage as possible. Forsake that thing, outrun the bricks, and move on to greener pastures. But it looks like that stall in movement was enough for the bricks to catch up. So now we're going to see them pounding away on these pillars, probably eliminating them in short order. There's 1 and there's 2. So that is the end of that. We've also got mobile missile launchers out for Strogo coming up against the point defense on Achieved Jaguar's side. Achieved, I did not see the message, but he is probably going to go for T3 UEF Commander. That'll let him drop a couple of Ravagers and keep up the point defense war in the center. Looks like Blinchik going for a rebuild on the shields. Sent 68 units to Achieve Jaguar. That gives pathfinding control to Jaguar on everything over on the left. That should help a little bit with pathfinding problems. Then on the right, this is starting to worry me greatly. Blinchik is at 153 mass income, far outstripping anything that the South team has, but I'm pretty concerned because I don't see enough units right here to actually stop the bricks that are incoming. We gotta get some Percivals online, we gotta do something, because otherwise these bricks are going to clean sweep the entire base. There are Percivals building under a fair amount of build power. There's also a T3 power generator online, so no more concerns about the power needs. And it would appear that the economy is relatively balanced, even with all of the assistance on this T3 mass extractor upgrade. 5,000 in the bank shouldn't be an issue. You can get that and all will be well. So this is another balance change. T3 mass extractors don't make as much mass. They're 20 mass positive surrounded by storage, instead of the 27 that you usually get from T3 mass extractors in the regular balance. They are offset by being cheaper, so the efficiency of the upgrade is the same, you just have a less expensive mass extractor that makes less. But I don't really know what the reasoning behind that was. I don't remember what I read, something about smoothing the transitions between the tiers, but whatever, it is what it is. So your total mass output is going to be lower in an equilibrium game, though you will scale to that point more quickly. All right, Blinchik at 166 income, 40 ahead of a Chief Jaguar. I am still concerned about this right-hand edge. We've got 4 shields online. We're now loading bricks in transports. This guy is about to drop some bricks on the other side of the map. Exactly as I said was a problem in the very earliest portion of the game, if you'll remember. I don't know if those are going to the right or to the left. Either one would be bad because there's no units in the rear on either side. But we do have a T1 Air Scout that will fly directly into these transports, revealing their cargoes. So you know what's there now. Interceptors will be able to respond and might be able to KO those transports before they drop the payloads. Ravager online for a Chief Jaguar, exactly as predicted. And there is a bad turn for Blinchik. Those inties were not able to fall in directly behind the transports. More than likely, those are going to land now. Need to be targeted on the lower HP transport, as they are. And success! One is knocked down. The other is going to land. Blinchik moving into position to try for an overcharge on those bricks. But the radar is going to go down. I would imagine that as soon as that radar is confirmed out, these bricks will start moving in on the base, but that may not be the case. ACU moving in. Need an overcharge. That was weird. Was that actually an enemy unit? It must have been. Probably an interceptor that landed on the ground. Need an overcharge. Do you have energy storage? You do not. So you're only going to be able to deal damage 2,000 at a time. But the Percival is there to assist, knocking that out with ease thanks to an overcharge from the ACU. I don't know what the alpha damage is on the Percival. I would assume it's the same. Please don't have tweaked the Percival. 299 damage on 33 range. That is a hell of a nerf. But they only cost 1,000. Holy smokes. So they only do 900 damage per shot now. That's ridiculous. Let's take a look at the bricks after we observe this drop. We got 6 bricks moving into the base. There are 2 Percivals, 3 Percivals to defend it, and T1 point events going down. Bricks now ready to shred. 5,900 versus 6,000 HP, so there's no longer a massive HP difference between the bricks and the Percivals. Blinchik moving up on the rear, trying to land an overcharge. Sonny, you need to get energy storage so you can actually do the damage that you need to. Shield gonna take care of a lot of the damage from those bricks, helping save the Percivals alive, but both T3 power generators are going to go down in a devastating blow to Blinchik's economy. That is nasty indeed. That was hard to watch, and that's going to put Blinchik at 2,000 income mass-wise, and a hard stall is going to force her below 100 mass income. This is not going to be an easy situation to dig yourself out of, but it is doable. It is doable, as there are enough Percivals on the front line to guard against intrusions from the bricks. All right, let's take a look at the bricks on the south side. That's going to be 1,000 mass, 300 DPS, and 4.0 rate of fire on 33 range. So the bricks are... Okay, so they got a 25 DPS torp. I like the torp buff. The bomber just destroyed a lot of build power from this guy. I'm sorry, guys, I missed it. But yes, the bricks and the Percivals are basically exactly even now, which seems a little odd. I don't know. It might even be that the bricks are stronger, because while the alpha damage is incredible for the Percivals, since the fire rate is shortened, they're only dealing 900 damage per shot. So they're going to take many, many more shots to kill the bricks than they did before. the bricks are dealing damage consistently over time. So in between the Percival shots, like if a Percival dies at second 2.9 of its firing cycle, you're missing 900 damage that Percival could have dealt, whereas the brick will have been dealing 650-ish damage during that time, or no, more than that. It would have dealt like 750 to 800 damage out of its potential 900 per 3 seconds. So it will be able to decrease the HP pool consistently. The only bad thing about it is going to be the instant deletion of the front line of units if a group of 40 Percivals and a group of 40 bricks meet in the middle. What's not true, Dunce? Brink, increase firing a little so it can fire more nicely. Percy speed also inched upwards. Okay, so we're getting a full analysis of the balance changes in the chat on the other side. I don't understand why more nicely is a reason for a balance change. This is an epic fight if ever I have seen one. We've got Zooey's under shields with a couple of T2 point events versus Ravagers under shields and a combat commander on the front line. I don't actually know who's going to win this one. We've got pillars and T3 artillery on the back end. It looks like Strogo is retreating. I don't know that he should have taken the hit, because we do have a T3 artillery in the back here as well, but he is moving to the rear to try and go after the bricks now leaking into his base. And speaking of a leak, a large one has been sprung in the shape of T3 strap bombers, now wiping out the mexes in Strogo's base, also dealing damage on the power generators in the rear. There is a SAM online on this edge that is killing off the ASF as they come in. A Chief Jaguar staying over to the left, a little T3 power generator going down. Strap bomber now in reach of the SAM, but the targeting priority did not kick over in time. Looks like we've got Ravagers up in the base as well to try and defend from all of these bricks that are breaching the center. Percival's pushing down on the bottom right are going to fail in the face of the number of bricks coming out of these assisted factories. Bricks on the north side also going to start shredding the front row of build power, point defense, shielding, mexes. It does not matter. It is all going to die a horribly painful death from these bricks. Oh, I think this is the final collapse. I was loving how well Blinchick was ecoing up, but I think the lesson learned here is that your mass income doesn't matter if you can't stop the units from entering your base. Strogo coming forward with an overcharge, killing 3 bricks right there. Might be able to land an overcharge on a further 2 or 3. He's also brought an Otham over. 6,000 HP on the Otham as well. So all of these guys are within 100 HP of each other. What is your thing? So we've got 70 DPS. So 270 DPS for 840 mass cost with the same HP. Speed 2.6. That's an odd little bit of changes. What was the range on it? I did not see. That's going to be 23 range and 33 range on the higher damage. So they actually match Percivals and bricks in range on 2/3 of the damage, but they're significantly faster. That's a very odd balance. Very odd. Looks like a Chief Jaguar has finally broken the front end, which is not that much of a surprise since Strogo is struggling against the strap bombers that have been hitting his base for basically this entire time. The walls on the left-hand side proving a little bit difficult for the strap bomber to navigate, but it does manage to make a turn and comes in for a hit on the T3 mass extractor right there. We've got ASF out for Strogo. He will be able to contest these strap bombers now. And we've also got T3 air for Blinchick. All may not be lost, but we've also got snipages coming in, Corsairs on some of... Nope, that's going to be on the ACU directly. I thought that might be going after a power generator or some build power, but it is going to hit that ACU. I think that was a bad target, to be honest. Not much chance of killing it with 5 Corsairs. You could have done 5,000 damage to a stationary target, which would have been... Oh, no, never mind. That power generator has 8,000 HP. So it would have taken 2 passes to kill that as well. Odd things all the way around. So to take a look at how the map is going, we've got Blinchik at 191 mass income, having reclaimed 21,000. Achieved Jaguar at 184 on 16,000 reclaim. This guy on 19,000 reclaim at 143 mass income. And then Strogo at the rear, 90 mass income thanks to losing his entire front base and 19,000 reclaim. This is looking like a soon-to-be dead base. Blinchik did survive, is rebuilding her income. We've got 210 on the ticker, and it's about to go up again by 20 with the rebuild of that T3 mass extractor. But again, behind on the unit count, we've now got 4 bricks moving up on the right, with another 7 about to punch another hole in the base on the left. Are there even any Percivals out for Blinchik? There are 2. So that is not going to be enough by far to deal with these Percivals that are coming in. Let's actually take a look-see at the intel. Definitely know that those bricks are there, but apparently Strogo is going to have to deal with that on his own. Those bricks, I'm sure, are going to make a beeline for that power generator. That is exactly what I would target if I had control of these units, because not only do you kill the P-Gen, but you kill all of the build power around the P-Gen with that death weapon, and then also deal damage to the Yathatha that is on the way and the shielding that is over there. If you can get in range of a volatile building, that volatile building is always the best target. Oh, reclaim on the P-Gen is going to shut down the death weapon. Not going to lose out on the build power. Excellent pickup there by Strogo, who is now overcharging his way through the bricks as they hammer away at the shield. That is potentially going to result in the loss of a second T3 power generator, but the shield will be just strong enough, thank goodness for Seraphim shielding, to hold against the onslaught. Last brick will go down slowly to the gun commander. We now have Ravagers in range of the base, pounding away at the power generators and mass extractors in the front locations. Let's go ahead and take a look at the range potential on these. Not too shabby. And what you'll notice is that while there aren't many Ravagers in one spot, a Yathatha will not be able to walk down this pathway. There are enough Ravagers scattered that while the first few may die, the rear ones will whittle away at the HP enough that Yathatha will be doomed. You gotta reclaim this stuff. Strogo stalling on mass. If you were able to reclaim this P-Gen with a handful of engineers while assisting with the others, he might be able to finish it more quickly. He's on the front line with the ACU trying to get an overcharge in. That's a dangerous thing to do versus Percivals. Even though they are nerfed Percivals, they can still be dangerous. He's got 120 regen. He does have nano. Trying to overcharge on the rear. Looks like a clean kill on 2 bricks, but his HP is just too dang low, and down he goes. That'll result in the loss of the entire left side base. Blinchik's going to lose T3 mass extractors on the rear thanks to those pillars moving around the back end. And I don't think that Blinchik will be able to do anything to stop this. No Percival production online to speak of. No Fat Boy. All the mass was invested in this Yathatha, although please spawn a death weapon. Are we going to get a lightning storm? We are not going to get a lightning storm, it would appear. So not even anything to damage those Percivals. Blinchik is going to fall. All that mass income does nothing for you if you can't spend it on something useful. Mexes have 0 DPS, says Faye in chat. Yes. And on top of that, the T3 Mexes don't even make as much mass as they used to. So, yeah. It's a nerf all the way around. Blinchik, I think, I am pretty sure that Blinchick is a her. I'm not 100%, but I've heard it referred to that way many times. But don't make a big deal about it, guys. It's okay. It is okay to have females playing in a tournament. I promise. I promise it's fine. Percival's moving into the base. Probably going to start losing all these T3 power generators in a chain reaction for the ages. I think they're all in range of each other. I don't know what the death weapon is set to in equilibrium. It might be more, or it might be less. We'll wait and see exactly how much damage it does to the surroundings. That is going to be roughly 7,000. No death weapon. What? Was that a reclaim and I wasn't paying attention to it? Maybe so. Was one engineer put over? Huh. Somebody post in chat about that, because I was focused on the HP trying to decide how much was going to get taken away. Last brick gonna go down, and pillars clearing out. A second T3 mech moving into the ones over on the far right. Yes, both engineers were reclaiming. Sorry guys, can't look at two places at once. Ooh, Kadoki. Barely skirting death at 254, but both Southside players are at 200 plus eco. So Blinchick, oh no, sorry, Blinchick's at 207, Jaguar's at 256. So Blinchick is now at less than half the total economic potential of the Southside team, and Jaguar has claimed the top spot on the scoreboard. Okay, Blinchick is a man. All right. Good enough for me. Somebody's heard him on Discord. Achieve Jaguar dropping a fat boy. That's already close to 40%. Oh, that is a beautiful overcharge on the pillars there. Nicely done. 3 kills straight away. Another 2 between the gun and the overcharge. Overcharge the center. You might get away with killing the others. Now we're just awaiting the slow, inevitable collapse under the weight of fire from this fat boy. Assuming genders is a 50-50 chance, might as well. I do know that there are several female players in FAF. I'm not going to sit here and name them off, but I know quite a few for sure. So, it is not that abnormal a thing. I don't remember where I had heard that, but I do apologize if I mistakenly referred to Blinchick. Alright. 1400, that fat boy is building so quickly. That is all due to this reclaim. Look at the amount of reclaim being sucked up. 70,000 mass already. 37 for Blinchick picking up in his base, and we've got 44 for this guy. So all these people just doubling down on the reclaim now that there's huge value targets all over the place. And then Blinchick, I believe, means pancakes. Pegasus. So it's not that. Fat Boy is going to complete, and now the entire base is going to get wiped. The question is, how quickly can these guys win it? I believe Blinchick. Nope, 308. Jaguar is still increasing. That's 307 real income right there. 307 to 308, not counting reclaim. So Jaguar has now started scaling to infinity thanks to all of the reclaim that he's gotten. He may even build another Fat Boy after this shielding. You know what I would love to see? I would love to see a tack snipe. That would be hilarious. But I just realized that that's probably unrealistic because most of the commanders have shield or stealth or some form of protection. So probably not going to be an easy thing to do. All right. Oh no. My right screen has started flickering. Hopefully that's not a sign of it dying. Why are there 2 blue circles on the Fat Boy? is at 2 experimentals now. His equilibrium combined 2 fat boys into 1 to create a mighty, mighty beast. I don't know. That's very odd. Maybe the experimental factory is counted as a different unit. It does kind of have a shield generator stuck in it. Oh no, that's a stealth. There's a deceiver stuck in the fat boy. Oh, now it's good. It's so you can build and move with the fat boy. Oh. Okay, so that's kind of cool. They figured out how to solve the mobile factory problem. All right, we'll give them that. We'll give them that. I'll take 2 strategic icons over not being able to build. It has a sub module. That works. Pretty dang cool indeed. All right, there's a fat boy under construction for Blinchick, but I have my doubts as to whether or not he can finish it before this fat boy crashes the party. There are Ravagers being brought to bear on the incoming Percivals, but again, fat boy is just going to shred through shielding, going to kill off power generators. That was definitely a P-Gen explosion. Let's take a measure on the HP. So that would be 7,500 damage from the power generator death weapon. Not enough to chain reaction the power generators, but definitely enough to cause a severe HP drop to anything standing nearby. We'll kill T3 units in 1 hit, no problemo. Megalith building capability uses a different mechanic. Yeah, you're not actually mobile while you're building with a Megalith because it drops the egg. So it still has to like lay the egg in one spot. There goes a fat boy. Blinchick now has no tools to deal. And it's now down to the slow eating of the base by this fat boy on the front line. I'm kind of curious. Let's go take a look-see. Where's the Chief's ACU? We can go with Blinchick's. I'm gonna queue over here. Oh no, it's only a T2 ACU. Crap. Come here, Commander. There you are. We're gonna go take a look. Fat boy, 28,000 mass, so the cost is still the same. The build time is roughly doubled though. Then we've got 675 times 4 plus 750 on the riot gun. So that looks like about the same stats. Like nothing has really been adjusted about the fat boy except the build time. Brink saved his fat boy by building flak with it against AI gunships in the co-op campaign he played with Guile. Yes, I did. The fat boy's build ability, like a lot of people don't use it very much, but it can be amazing. Oh look, clink hammers. Jaguar is just gonna add insult to injury by building T2 artillery within reach of the base. Looks like Blinchick is taking a walk, wandering down into the other base. This guy, are you stuck? What? Blinchick is... Oh, it broke. Fixed in EQ. The ACU is no longer touching the ground and can't move. Is that a... Oh my goodness. There was a nuke. There was a nuke. That wouldn't have been a win anyway. This guy went for a nuke. And that is the end of the Blinchick. All right, an excellent end to an excellent game, I guess. Oh, well played all around. It turned a little bit turtly. The early game rating was kind of awesome. Later on, we just saw an excellent example of how superior eco is not always the answer to all of your problems, because if you're not building units, then your opponents, just by merit of having built units, will crush you. And there's a limit to how much you can build, how quickly, in response. So Blinchick just went too far over to the eco line, didn't have enough to respond with, and it ended up costing the north side the game. But again, well played all the way around. I think any person in this match would absolutely crush me if I went up against them. That is gonna wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.